Hey guys, it's Craig Severinsen from Brightworks PR Marketing, and we're here today for your daily action chat. This is where we work together to build massively successful companies, six figures and beyond. And today, I want to talk to you about something that's really important for you and your business, and that is building habits. Habits of really successful business owners. And there's three in particular that I want to point out today that I want to discuss. And the reason why is because they're keystone habits. And a keystone habit is basically just a habit that affects every other aspect of your life, right? So for instance, you start waking up early in the morning, and suddenly because you're waking up early in the morning, you're eating breakfast when normally you would skip breakfast. You know, getting up in the morning was the habit that you're working on. Breakfast is a natural result of it, and that maybe spills into other aspects because you don't eat because you eat breakfast. Maybe you eat a smaller lunch. Maybe you start losing weight. You know, like so we're talking about habits that are so powerful that they have the ability to shape your business. And there's three of them in particular that are really important if you want to take your business to the next level. If you want to get past either survival mode, if you're in survival mode, or if you want to, maybe you're making a good amount of money and you want to take it one step further. You got to make sure that these pieces are in place. So the first one, marketing. Marketing is a super important habit to get into. You need to be always doing some marketing. And the reason why it's a keystone habit is because if you get really good at marketing activities and every day you're doing some marketing, right? Then every day you're going to be generating new leads. And naturally, if you have these leads coming in, you're going to get better at converting leads. You're going to get better sales pages, or you're going to get better at one-on-one conversations to get people into your programs. So the marketing aspect is going to actually improve your whole onboarding process. And as your onboarding process improves, that improves your services. So it's really, it becomes this consistent item that just improves your whole business. So doing marketing every single day. I've said this before, but there's a rule of thumb for how much marketing you should be doing. And we just, going off of how much time you're putting into it. As you get more successful and you have more resources, your time isn't as important because you can actually pay, you can pay people to do your marketing for you, people like me, right? But when you're doing it by yourself or when you're on your own, how much time should you be spending doing marketing? Okay. Well, let's look at it this way. If you have no clients, then you should be getting clients. So 100% of your time, let's say 90%, because let's say 10% you have to use for admin, bookkeeping, and that sort of thing. But 90% of your workday should be dedicated to marketing when you have no clients. Typically, if you have a few clients, you're going to be spending about 80% of your time. And if you are full up on clients, you still need to be doing marketing. It's still a keystone habit that still affects the whole outlay of your company. So 20% is the minimum amount of time that I suggest you spend on marketing. Even if you're paying someone else to do it, 20% of your time should be checking in to make sure that your marketing is running efficiently, right? And again, that marketing, it's going to bring in leads consistently. That leads to consistent growth. That leads to consistent services. It is imperative that you work on that marketing. Okay, the second keystone habit is typically not people's favorite thing to do, and that is keeping your books. The thing about keeping books, and I'm talking about income, profit and loss statements, just being really aware, and not just your bank account, but being really aware of how much money you're bringing in and how much expenses you have so that you really know if you're making a profit or not. Most entrepreneurs don't do this. And that's why most entrepreneurs don't ever get past the survival phase or don't ever get to six figures, is because they don't keep good books. But let's look at it this way. Let's put a different example, okay? A keystone habit in health is actually tracking what you eat. Because as you track what you eat, if you went through the day and you just had like a notebook on you and every single time you ate something, you wrote down what you ate, and maybe you take it a step further, you wrote how many calories you had when you ate it, Just by writing it down, you become more conscious about what you're doing. And study after study has found that when we write down what we eat, we actually eat healthier, and we typically lose weight because we're more conscious of what we're eating. Your books are the same way, but for your business health, right? As you track your expenses and as you track your income, you're going to be more aware of the costs that your business is incurring. You're going to be more aware of all the expenses. You're going to be more aware of who's not paying or who is paying, or how well your system is for getting people to pay, right? Your billing system. So all of that starts to affect your business just because you're keeping books. And when I say keeping books, I'm talking about every single day. Every day. Just like you would a food log, you're writing down your expenses and you're writing down money coming in. I'm not saying spend an hour or like 5 hours every day doing this. I'm talking about spending 10 minutes and saying, this is what I spent today, this is what I made today, and then putting it to the side. You know, having your QuickBooks or your Excel spreadsheet or whatever it is that you're using, even if it's just a notebook and you're just making quick notes. The point is that you have to be thinking about the level of income that you're actually making, the level of profit that you're actually making. And there is a difference between profit and money in your bank account. Just because there's money in your bank account does not mean you're making money. Because if you start with an investment of $1,000, right, you make, let's say you make 1,001, but you, I don't know what I'm trying to say. If you have a balance in your bank account of $1,000, you could make some money and your expenses could be more than what you make, and you could not make a profit, but you still have some money in the bank. So you're thinking to yourself, if you're going off that number, oh, I'm doing just fine, when in reality, you're losing money, right? If your expenses, you make $1,000 more, but your expenses are $1,100, and at the end of the day, you have $900 in your bank account, you might be saying, oh, I got $900 in my bank account. That doesn't mean you're making a profit. You lost $100 because your costs are too high. So you need to be sure that you're on top of what profits am I actually making, not what is the number in the bank account. That got really confusing. Hopefully that came through though, right? I should have thought through that analogy before I dove into it. But that's my personality. That's what I do. Fast, focused, imperfect action. That's what I'm all about, right? Okay. The very last keystone habit of a successful business is always improving your service. Because as you improve your service, you retain clients. So if your goal is every year to improve your service by like 10 or 20%, whatever it is, right? The habits you put in place to ensure that your service improves, I mean, first of all, your service is going to improve. But second, your customer satisfaction is going to improve. Your pricing, you can charge more when you have a better service. When you have a base of happy paying clients, you can charge more money. You can make more money, and you can depend on that income more. So having some sort of keystone habit that improves your business is really important. So for me, you know, I do a lot of coaching programs, and I also do the clients in your inbox, which is LinkedIn lead generation. With the coaching, after every program, I do a survey because I want to know how things are going. And in the middle of the program, I do a survey so I know how things are going. With the clients in your inbox, I have monthly check-ins to see, hey, this is how the lead generation is performing. How are we feeling about it? How are you doing with the conversion rate? You know, I have the ability to check in with my clients and see how things are going. And I collect all that data, and I absorb it, and then I improve my offering based on the feedback that I get. You know, it enables me to do things like, if I realize that somebody who's doing my clients in my inbox system, right? They're getting they're getting leads through LinkedIn, and they're getting tons and tons of leads, but it's not converting into clients. I know that I can offer them a part of my coaching program on enrolling clients, right? So I've got that kind of crossover, and I've got that ability to give them a bonus based off of what they need. But I couldn't do that if I wasn't committed to being the best practitioner in my industry. Maybe that even could be the keystone habit. Rather than being the best, improving your service, maybe the keystone habit is to commit and actively work towards being the best service provider in your industry, in your niche. Because if you are not committed to being the very best, it's not going to happen. It is not going to happen because you're going to be mediocre, right? You've got to be committed to being the best. And now that doesn't mean that you have to wait to be the best to start your business, or that you have to wait to be the best to make money. But you have to be constantly focused on, I'm going to be the best service provider in this industry, in this niche. That is a keystone habit. That is a keystone mindset. So those are the three things. Those are the three habits that I see highly successful business owners have. And I want to hear from you. What habits do you have that make a difference in your life? I had another thought. Maybe I'll share these too. So we're going to do 3 bonus habits, but these aren't necessarily business habits. But here's the thing. When you're a solopreneur, like when you're on your own, or even if you're the CEO of a company, a larger company, your personal life affects the direction of your business. When you're an entrepreneur, there is no separation of personal and business life, because life is not a bucket like that. When you're a employee or your hourly wage or whatever, you can walk away and you can say, that's my business, this is my personal life. But when you're the owner, when you're the CEO, when you are ultimately responsible for everything the business does, it's a different game. It's a different story. And so your personal life and the way you take care of yourself is imperative to the success of your business. So these are 3 bonus habits that are not necessarily business related, but guess what? They are. So the first one is exercise. You need to exercise every day. As an entrepreneur, you are a high performance athlete and you need to train like one, right? You necessarily are not going to be running marathons. That's not the high performance athlete that I'm referring to here. Your tool of choice is your knowledge and your discipline. And exercising every day helps you in the work day to be disciplined here. Because you're practicing, like let's say that you take up jogging, but you can do this for anything, weightlifting, a sport, whatever it is that you decide to do. But let's take jogging, because jogging is a very common one. When you're out there running, your personality is going to push you because you're an entrepreneur. That's what you do. It's going to push you and you're going to be tired. But as you practice, you're going to get better. And it's like this active practicing of pushing yourself a little further every time. And when your body is in peak optimal performance levels, your mind is too. So exercise is a keystone habit that's personal, but also business related. 2 is some sort of spiritual aspect. You need to have, and you need to identify this yourself. And I don't really care what religion you are, but you need to have some sort of spiritual aspect to your life. It grounds you. It helps you think beyond. It helps you see past the trees to see the forest, right? That phrase, you can't see the forest because of all the trees. Having some sort of spiritual ritual, some sort of spiritual habit that you do daily is going to help you to look beyond just what's right here in the foreground. It's going to help you take a step back. It's going to help you be more centered. It's going to help you be better. I personally, every day, read scriptures. That's what I do. That's my spiritual habit. And I do it every single day. And I don't take much time to do it. I take maybe 10, 20 minutes and read and study and think. And it just helps me kind of center, take a break, pay attention. The last keystone habit is going to be your favorite. And this is to enable your inner slacker. And I don't mean slacker like you're a bad performer. I mean slacker as in give yourself some slack, right? You need to take care of yourself. So you need time for hobbies, or you need time for family, or you need time to sleep. You need time to sleep, right? And so you need Keystone habits that enable your inner slacker. So if you want to take me, for example, I have 3 Keystone habits that I work on a personal level every day. One is I want to get to bed on time. And I chose 10 o'clock at night. You know, I was staying up till like midnight, 1 in the morning. Sometimes I was doing work until that late. And I was just, it was rough on me. Now I go to bed at 10 o'clock every night, and I feel a little bit like a like a grandpa. No offense if a grandpa is watching this, but I feel a little bit old. But honestly, like I'm getting up naturally with no alarm clock around 6:30 in the morning, and I get so much more done in the morning, and I don't feel tired because I'm going to bed on time. So my Keystone habit is go to bed at 10 o'clock in the morning. Or 10 o'clock at night. Yeah, 10 o'clock. I'm going to stay up all night and go to bed at 10 o'clock in the morning. I think I'm thinking that because the action chat is every morning at 10 a.m. Central. But no, my bedtime, yes, I have a bedtime. It's 10 o'clock at night. The second thing I already mentioned is reading scriptures. I take some time and I read my scriptures. And then the third thing is exercise. For me, it's exercise every day. And I'm running right now, but I do enjoy weightlifting and some other stuff too. So some of you might be a little bit like me. One of the things that I struggle with is I don't like structure. As a creative person, as an entrepreneur, I thrive on, I like change. I like things to just happen. That's one of my strengths. And that's why I focus so much on taking action, on getting stuff done. So there's a conflict there. How do you have habits yet not structure? It seems contradictory, but the truth is that I just, instead of like scheduling out my time and this is when I'm going to do this and it's going to take this long and this is when I'm going to do this and it's going to take this long, I have 3 habits that I kind of keep in my head as a checklist. And I've got 3 habits. You know, 3 seems to be a very simple number that we can focus on. So I've got 3 business and 3 personal. And it's just kind of like a checklist in my head. So I don't have necessarily a time that I'm going to do these things, but I do know I'm going to do them during the day. And that gives me and my personality the ability to be spontaneous, to do things when I feel like doing them while still having habits that I do every single day. And it turns out that most days are about the same. You know, I go to bed at 10 o'clock. That one is obvious. But, you know, I'll get up and I'll eat breakfast and read scriptures and then take my kids to school and go for a run when I get back home. That's kind of typical. But, you know, there'll be days where I don't feel like that, or where I've got to do something for work really quick. And so I mix it up. I switch it around. So you've got to find what works for you. But the point of all of this is that it does take some discipline and it does take habits to run a successful business. And those are the 3 that I've seen successful business owners practice. Marketing every day, keeping their books every day, and being committed to being the best practitioner in the business. That's it for today's action chat. I want to remind you, please subscribe. We're going to be here every morning at 10 a.m. Central. And I'd love for you to join us live. You know, we're just using Google Hangouts. So you can watch live, you can comment, and you can ask questions. We'll answer them. In the future, we're going to be having some guests on. We're working on getting them squared away right now. Until next time, go take some fast, focused, imperfect action and build your massively successful business. You can do it. I believe in you. Go get her done.